local breaking news. You're watching News Channel 3, live at 11.
A mother is now saying 2 of her children tested positive for COVID-19. One was a camper and the other was a counselor at a West Michigan camp. Just 4 days ago, that Camp Mishawaka, temporarily closed after hundreds of people may have been exposed to the virus. News Channel 3's Genevieve Grippo joins us now live from the station. Genevieve, that mother is now encouraging other families to get tested too.
Yeah, Callie, she says that's because she imagines other people will also test positive in relation to the situation. Now, the health department is saying that most people who have been exposed are not from the local area, and that could create a long road for them when it comes to contact tracing.
Oh, Jeremiah, you gotta try to leave it in, dude.
That's Jeremiah Peterson getting tested for the coronavirus on Thursday. It's the same day Camp Mishawaka called his mom, telling her he and about 250 others might have been exposed to COVID-19 after 6 people at the camp tested positive. It turns out, so did he.
The test was positive, and I'm having shortness of breath, which was already having coughing, nausea.
His mom, Michelle Lockett, says her household is now on quarantine, meaning she cannot go to her job as a server. She says her adult daughter, a counselor at the camp, also tested positive. Now it's Lockett's turn to take the test.
What does this tell you about the virus, the fact that both your kids have it now?
Hey, it goes fast. It goes fast. So I'm just waiting to see how many other children actually have it.
We've asked the Barry Eaton Health Department how many others from the camp, if any, have tested positive for the virus. They say they'll pull the numbers Monday. Lockett says she believes the camp took necessary safety measures, but still expects the case count to climb.
The precautions were there, but it didn't help out it wasn't helpful enough.
Other summer camps have also experienced outbreaks. On July 31st, the CDC said 200 kids tested positive for the virus after attending a camp in Georgia. Lockett says it's that kind of news that makes her think twice about the coming school year.
So I don't know. I'm just kind of leery about sending my kids to school now because I opt in for the 2 days on, 3 days off for the hybrid learning. But now it's do I really want to do that?
In a Facebook post on Thursday, Camp Mishawaka apologized for how the potential exposure would affect families and said that it was working in cooperation with the local health department. The camp also voluntarily closed its doors for 2 weeks. Reporting live from the station, Genevieve Grippo, News Channel 3.
All right, thanks, Genevieve. Well, the school year is quickly approaching. Now, another district in West Michigan is getting ready to decide on a back-to-school plan. The Saugatuck Public School Board is meeting tomorrow. They plan to approve their back-to-school plan. Board members are also expected to revisit a divisive topic, potentially changing its mascot. Saugatuck's first day of school is September 1st. Across Michigan, the number of COVID-19 cases continues to rise. Michigan now tops 87,000 cases. Here's a live look at the latest numbers that were released just a few hours ago. You can see the state recorded 514 new cases in the last day and 2 new deaths. Officials did remove 1 death from the total death toll. So far, more than 6,000 people have died in Michigan and more than 63,000 people have recovered. All right, taking a look at those numbers here in West Michigan. Here's a look at the county-by-county breakdown. Calhoun County is the only county in the area without an increase in cases over the last day. You can see Kent County continues to have the highest number of reported cases, with more than 6,800 people testing positive there. All right, switching to weather now. Here's a live look at downtown Kalamazoo with our Peregrine Tower camera. It was hot, it was humid today. Meteorologist Will Haney joins us now live from his living room. Will, you've got some good news. You're tracking some rain chances for the week.
Yeah, Cal, at least the next couple days, some of us could get in on a little rain, and it is still needed. We still have a little bit of a deficit in recent weeks, if not really the last month or two. Right now, our forward-panel plot, though, showing a warm night, upper 70s, low 80s. Some clouds have built in most spots. At the very least, some clouds, partly cloudy skies noted in Kalamazoo. We're mostly cloudy, though, right now in South Haven, and that's likely due to this guy, some area of some showers and actually rumbles of thunder that is working its way in. And it's actually been weakening in recent scans, so it continues that trend. That being said, we're starting to see a few showers in parts of now Allegan County, just off to the northeast of South Haven. Another shower just south of South Haven. It looks like about to cross over I-196. And as we look down towards Berrien County, that's where the showers are about to enter in on land and still producing a few lightning strikes. But that being said, the lightning was a lot more numerous about an hour ago, so that's often an indication that that cluster is starting to continue to weaken. So overnight tonight, we'll look for a few showers and rumbles of thunder, especially west of US 131, but most of us, I do think, will stay dry tonight. Humidity continues for tomorrow before a better storm chance tomorrow afternoon and evening, and that's ahead of a cold front that will eventually knock that humidity down quite a bit. We're going to be detailing all of this, Callie, coming up in about 10 minutes.
All right, thanks, Will. See you then. Well, President Trump is trying to provide relief for Americans to get through the pandemic. It's unclear how some of his new executive orders will play out. Atra El-Nashar takes a look at what's in them and how the rest of Washington is reacting.
Something's very wrong here about meeting the needs of the American people.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi making it clear she believes President Trump is missing the mark with his new executive orders on coronavirus relief. The orders will extend forbearance on student loan payments, direct the Health and Human Services Secretary to consider a measure that may halt evictions, and create a payroll tax holiday for Americans making less than $100,000 a year. White House Trade Advisor Peter Navarro.
Who clearly have the authority to do that. That can be done easily through the Treasury Department.
But Republican Senator Ben Sasse referred to it as unconstitutional slop, saying in a statement, quote, President Trump does not have the power to unilaterally rewrite the payroll tax law.
It helps our country get back, and anybody that would say anything different, I think, is very foolish.
Because payroll taxes pay for Social Security and Medicare, presumptive Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden calls this order, quote, Donald Trump's first shot in a new reckless war on Social Security.
This payroll tax holiday is a deferment, so Americans would have to pay those taxes back eventually unless Congress passes a separate bill to forgive them. Now, that fourth executive order the president signed this weekend gives unemployed Americans $400 per week, but states are required to pay for 25% of that.
He's saying states have the money. No, they don't. They have expenses from the coronavirus. They have lost revenue.
President Trump says he's confident any legal challenges to his orders will fail in court and hopes Congress continues to negotiate with the White House for a more comprehensive relief package. In Washington, I'm Atra El-Nashar reporting.
Some West Michigan movie theaters are now pushing for the governor to let them reopen. Owners say they're just as safe, if not more safe, than places that have already reopened. That includes Kalamazoo 10, which is now operated by GQT Movies. You may remember Goodrich Quality Theaters filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy back in February, just before the COVID-19 pandemic hit Michigan. The governor ordered theaters across Michigan to close their doors back in March. Because of the bankruptcy and new ownership, only 22 out of 28 of the original properties will reopen, including the one here in Kalamazoo. However, there's still no reopen date in sight for the location here. Executive Vice President of Administration and Finance, Matt McSparron, says he's hopeful the National Association of Theater Owners of Michigan can change that.
We really believe if government entities would allow us to explain our plan and be clear about what we're doing to provide a safe environment, that we can get their eyes on that, they're going to see that we're going to approach it as safe or more safe than any other industry that's operating.
McSparron says they've got a COVID-19 preparedness plan for Kalamazoo 10. It includes wearing masks, ensuring social distancing, sanitation stations throughout the theater, and screening staff. Some of its other theaters are already reopening, including the one in Cadillac, which just reopened this weekend. Well, you may be getting a knock on your door if you haven't completed the 2020 census yet. That's because starting tomorrow, the U.S. Census Bureau is kicking off its door-to-door effort in Michigan. They'll be following up with people who haven't responded to the census. You can still fill it out by mail, phone, or online. The executive director for the Michigan 2020 census says workers have to take a COVID-19 virus safety course. A local organization fighting to end domestic violence and sexual assault here in Michigan is encouraging people to simply go for a walk to raise awareness. News Channel 3's Trisha McCauley tells us how you can walk for the cause.
The CDC reports 1 in 4 women will experience domestic violence in their lifetime. 1 in 5 will experience sexual assault. To raise awareness, Southwest Michigan's Domestic and Sexual Abuse Services is hosting its 9th annual Walk a Mile event. The walk is virtual this year due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Interim Executive Director Deborah Hackworth is encouraging people to walk in honor of someone they might know who was affected by domestic or sexual abuse.
Who is someone in your life that's been affected by domestic violence or sexual assault? This year, I'll be walking in honor of my grandmothers who both had to free themselves from domestic violent relationships before there were any programs.
The event used to be called Walk a Mile in Her Shoes. Now it's Walk a Mile in Their Shoes. Hackworth says they wanted to be more inclusive. According to the CDC, 1 out of every 7 men experience physical abuse in a partner relationship. 1 in 6 individuals experience sexual assault as a child.
Bringing awareness and attention to the fact that it's not just women who are being abused. It's children who are being abused and men also who are being abused. In fact, in the last few years, we saw a great rise in numbers of men who are reaching out for help.
Hackworth says people have until August 22nd to participate, walking at least 1 mile and pledging $10 per mile. She says the goal is to collectively walk 700 miles. That would raise $7,000 for the group's free and confidential services. In Kalamazoo County, Trisha McCauley, News Channel 3.
People are taking to the streets in Michigan, calling for an end to gun violence.
King of glory, King of glory.
This weekend, a group of mothers in Saginaw marched to provide support for parents who lost their children to gun violence. The march comes just weeks after 2 Saginaw teens were killed during a large gathering at a gas station. Organizers say there needs to be more engagement with youth in the community.
We need to bring more jobs back over here to our community. We need to bring more events back over here to our communities just so that they could see other things more than what they see.
Organizers say they want parents affected by gun violence to know that they are not alone. The race is on to find a vaccine for COVID-19. How a potential vaccine that functions like a Band-Aid could be the answer to questions researchers are having.
All of us here at News Channel 3 are...
Welcome back to News Channel 3 Live at 11. I'm Callie Rainey. Teams around the world are racing to develop a vaccine that could protect us from COVID-19. Right now, there are more than 25 options in human trials. There are questions about how quickly those vaccines can be made and distributed. Josie Sturman shows us how a unique potential vaccine could solve some of those problems in the spotlight on America.
It's a tiny, flexible patch as small as your fingertip, a high-tech Band-Aid that isn't designed to stop bleeding. It's a way to battle coronavirus.
It is composed of hundreds of very small needles that are about the width of a human hair.
Those microscopic needles, massive under a microscope, could one day deliver a coronavirus vaccine to the masses.
You can see that they're like small Washington monuments, basically, and the antigen is actually in the tips of the needles.
The antigen is part of a unique vaccine patch being developed and tested by scientists at the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center and Pitt School of Medicine, which supplied us footage of behind-the-scenes work happening inside their lab. Their vaccine is one of more than 165 in development around the world.
We're using these novel technologies to try to get these vaccines into patients as quickly as possible.
Dr. Lewis Fallow with the University of Pittsburgh Medical School says their approach gets the COVID-19 protection we need into our systems through the skin.
The needles are very short, so they're just long enough to penetrate the outer layers of the skin so that we get good delivery, but not long enough to hit any pain receptors or blood vessels.
The vaccine and delivery system they're developing at Pitt also uses inexpensive material, doesn't have to be kept cold for shipping or storage, and it's simple enough to potentially be administered without a healthcare worker. But the big deal is how quickly and easily scientists say it can be manufactured.
The pandemic is all over the world, so we potentially need 4 billion doses of vaccine, which probably we're not going to be able to manufacture in a short period of time. Ideally, a vaccine needs to be manufactured with scalable technology.
And that's the difference maker as the U.S. government begins to grapple with how to manufacture and distribute vaccines to 330 million Americans. Last week, the nonprofit Center for American Progress put out a new report warning we're not ready, calling on the White House and Congress to step up planning and funding. The scientists at Pitt say their patch would be easy to scale up right now.
We can distribute this worldwide, globally, very quickly.
While other vaccine experts tell us no major manufacturers currently have the technology to make this kind of microneedle vaccine in large scale, Pitt says it can be done inexpensively and quickly with 3D printing. But like other institutions in the race to find a vaccine, this team still needs to conduct human trials, with collaborative research continuing.
We need to bring all those scientists together from different areas working together to be successful in this effort.
Scientists working together to find success against a global pandemic with one tiny patch. I'm Josie Sturman for Spotlight on America.
And to find out how one West Michigan company will be playing a vital role in creating COVID-19 vaccines, just look for this story on our website, WWMT.com, or you can check it out on our free News Channel 3 mobile app. Well, summer is beginning to wrap up and students are preparing to head back to school. Experts say the tourism industry in our state has taken a major hit and could continue to suffer as the pandemic continues. Dave Lorenz with Pure Michigan says because of COVID-19, tourism is down. He says despite big crowds at the beaches, people are still hesitant to travel. Lorenz says with the first day of school still unclear for some West Michigan families, it's a good time to take a trip and explore the state. He says traveling in Michigan offers plenty of educational opportunities, and families visiting different parts of the state would help the industry.
Many kids will be learning virtually. Why not travel with the family through the fall, do the virtual class? It's a new world, especially considered the COVID environment. So this coming fall, I think, is going to be the first year where we seriously have this opportunity for travel industry and education community to link together, to find ways that we can use travel as an educational experience.
Lorenz says he's been traveling and notes almost everywhere in the state he's been. He says people are taking COVID-19 precautions seriously. His hope right now is funding for Pure Michigan will be approved in October by legislatures so the industry can recover next year.
Callie, I don't mean to brag, but my wife and we've hit up, I think, like 3 new lakeshore towns this year that we didn't get to last year. So it's been pretty enjoyable, and yeah, definitely would recommend trying to travel as close to home as possible if you want to get out. Here's the view right now in Bangor. You can see things pretty quiet right now. There could be some showers though, just off to the west in Bangor. You might even get in on some of the rain. Consider yourselves lucky if you do tonight, because I don't think it'll be too widespread as those showers continue to weaken. But temperatures right now, a bit muggy, upper 70s, low 80s, 80 right now in Kalamazoo and 77 in Dowagiac, 78 right now in South Haven. There's the area of some rain and storms that's been working its way across Lake Michigan, still producing some lightning and thunder. That's the only worry we have with this. If anything, it's just going to be some rain and rumbles of thunder. That's the case exactly right now in Benton Harbor. So we look a little bit closer though, there's one lightning strike that was just detected inland. Looking a little bit farther north, one shower there in Allegan County now has developed, and that area of rain stretching all the way up towards Grand Haven, where there's likely just some steady rain working its way on in, and then South Haven, a handful of lightning strikes just offshore right now. So hour by hour now kind of picking up on that. That area of rain will kind of continue to dissipate and really just impact, for the most part, locations west of US 131. By around 5-6 in the morning, we may see a spot shower in places like Kalamazoo, possibly even Battle Creek and down towards Three Rivers, before that morning round sort of fizzles out. We'll stay mostly cloudy, I think, through about lunchtime before some afternoon sun sets off some showers and additional storms into the afternoon and evening for your Monday. It's really late tomorrow night and into early Tuesday morning that we see our best chance of more widespread rain and storms, some of which could produce some heavy rainfall. I think tonight that's the best area of opportunity to see some rain, that darker green that I've shaded there, as mentioned. For the most part, locations west of US 131. It's possible elsewhere could see a shower or two, but a little bit less likely. As far as the severe weather outlook for tomorrow, we were highlighting Monday yesterday. It looks like the risk has shifted a little bit farther southwest, so it's not necessarily a widespread risk for us. But that being said, Monday still, there's a little bit of energy, to say the least, for those storms to work with. If we can get some stronger storms to fire up, we'll have to watch them for possibly some gusty winds, and then again, locally heavy rainfall as well. But fortunately, our ground isn't too saturated in terms of the topsoil where we can still take some rain. As far as the muggy meter, though, tomorrow we're staying very soupy, as I like to say, but then by Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, a little bit more refreshing, so you get that to look forward to. Another cool thing to look forward to if you're a fan of watching the sky or astronomy, we have the Perseid meteor shower. It's arguably the most popular meteor shower of the year. It's peaking Tuesday night between about 11 p.m. and 12:30 a.m. You're going to want to just get a wide view of the dark sky, away from city lights preferably, and just give your eyes some time to adjust, and you can actually see some shooting stars streak across the sky. At best, I think you could probably see about 10 an hour. You'll see some reports out there saying things like, 80 an hour. I think that's probably a little overdone. That's usually based off of like perfect conditions, which are essentially non-existent. That's a little bit more complicated to get into, but yeah, around 10 an hour, which is still not bad. Maybe every 5-10 minutes you might see one. That's pretty good if you ask me. 80 right now in Kalamazoo. It is still warm and muggy. It's staying that way tomorrow with some storms in the afternoon and evening. A few showers could linger into early Tuesday, but then after that, smooth sailing for a couple days and noticeably less humid before next weekend. We warm up a little bit in terms of the humidity, and that brings some showers and storms back in play. Callie?
All right, thanks. Well, it looks like a beautiful week. I'm sure you'll get out, and if I had to guess, I would say you're probably going to play some disc golf. There's the trophy. Love it. All right, thanks, Will. Well, another day at the racetracks in Michigan. Why today's win was extra special for one driver.
Summer is sweeter with...
Tonight, the Detroit Tigers are wrapping up their series against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Today, the Tigers took on the Pirates at PNC Park. Detroit won today's matchup 2-1. They take on the Chicago White Sox tomorrow night at Comerica Park. Our partners at Fox Sports Detroit will be airing that game. And you can even catch the game day forecast from our very own Keith Thompson. All right, well, now to Michigan International Speedway we go. The Consumers Energy 400 wrapping up in Brooklyn today. Kevin Harvick, what do you know, picking up his second win of the weekend. Good weekend for him. He also won the Firekeepers Casino 400 yesterday. A group of local artists are demonstrating and making their voices heard through art. It's called Art for Resistance. Artists used all different types of material to create artwork that advocates for racial justice. Artists say they plan to auction off their pieces to raise money for a local artist who had his supplies stolen. A local organization is hoping to help families in need. The Salvation Army of Kalamazoo is teaming up with Walmart to provide school supplies for children and teens. This is the local organization's second year of Stuff the Bus. The Walmart locations off 9th Street, Shaver Road, Gold Road, and M89 have all been accepting supply donations. Families in need will have the choice to pick up their kids' school supplies at the Salvation Army Corps office or register online to have them delivered to their home. And we'll be right back with one final check of the forecast.
Keeping our schools safe and clean.
Not a complete washout tomorrow, but storms looking pretty likely during the afternoon and evening, especially a little bit more widespread than they will be overnight tonight. It'll still be another scorcher, though. 89 the high, feeling even warmer than that. You got to factor in that heat index. Will likely feel like the lower to mid-90s before a drop in humidity after that. Callie?
All right, Will, my hair thanks you for that drop in humidity. Thanks for joining us tonight. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
As we endure the COVID-19